Kia ora, New Zealand. Welcome to Sweet Chain Live. My name's Matt Drake, and I've got with me Brady Cush tonight. He's that side of me. How are you, Brady?
Doing well, Matt. How you doing? Good to be back.
Excellent, excellent. Yeah, good, thank you. Now, this is episode 30, and we've got a great show today. We're going to go through some hot scores. We've also got Dave Rose, who's the tournament director of the Chartist Bay Charge, who's going to be talking to us a little bit about the tournament. And also, we'll be going through a live video caddy book, so look out for that. That's going to be good fun. He also stays along for Desert Island Disc Golf. And then Brady's got some international news and some rules clarification. We've also got upcoming events to go through as well. So without further ado, we'll start with our hot scores, starting down south.
Yeah, let's go down south. Starting in Invercargill, let's go to Queen's Park. Eli Stout, not to be shown up by his brother last week at Tucker's. 15 down takes Queen Parks and Invercargill this week. Up to Dunedin, we have Chingford Park and Les Payne taking it out with a 6 under par on the 9-hole course. Let's slide over to Queenstown in the Gardens. Mikey Hughes getting it done. 14 down in the Gardens. Well done to Mikey. And out at Tucker's, Hemi Teofitu throwing -5 to take the hot score at Tucker's for this week. Over the range to Wanaka, let's go to Ely Point, a name that is no surprise to be on this list. Ryan Cambridge and Ben Quinn tie for a -3 at Ely Point. Going to the 18-hole course, let's slide over to Lismore. We have Dom Hayden, the Silver Fox, and once again, Ryan Cambridge. He's getting too popular on this show. He's doing too well down south. But they both came in at -10 to take Lismore. Well done to them. Way to go, Ryan. Up to Christchurch, up to the Garden City. Let's head to Jelly Park. And Gregor taking it at -14. I really want to know what holes he missed. Well done, Gregor. Let's slide out to Queen's Park. We have another tie. We have Jay Puke, Mr. Disc Bros, and Bro Disc, Willie T, tie at -5 for Queen's Park. And then to Brooker Ave, once again, Willie T, -5 seems to be his rounds on the week. Well done to Willie T in the Garden City. Matt, how are we doing up on the North Island?
Starting at Berrenport, this week we had Brady Cush hit 7 under par at the Berrenport Hills course, including an ace on hole 8, I believe. So well done, Brady. And across the harbour to Hikoikoi, Brady Cush again on 4 under par.
2 for 2.
2 for 2, tied this week with Flavio Mayorga. And I understand your angst at getting beaten out of the 3 for 3 by Mitch Hudson, who shoots 3 under par. I think it was yesterday on his birthday. So many happy returns, Mitch, and congratulations. Up to Linklater, Arthur Horn hits the hot score with 4 under par. And up at Tauranga, getting ready for the extreme, Mike Foley hits an even par round at one of the toughest courses in the country. Over at Henderson, Richard Waterson hits 3 under par, and Jackson Sullivan's been out and about at Woodhill Red Tees hitting 4 under par. So well done to Jacko. We had a result down in so let me start again. The Struggle Street Meltdown. The Struggle Street Meltdown is a sanctioned league. Such things exist, and I believe it's the first PGA sanctioned league in New Zealand. There's more to come.
It is. Shout out Morgan. Well done, bro.
Well done to Morgan for organising that, and also well done to Morgan for shooting the hot round of this week's opening gambit with a 988 rated 10 under par. So very well done to him. Adam Rhymes with 5 under par, and Hemi Teofitu round out the podium. So well done to those. You can follow the league. It's every Saturday on the PGA Live website. So if you know any of the guys who are participating in the Meltdown, then follow that along. We'll have all the results of that and any other sanctioned leagues as and when they come up. Right, so our guest tonight is Dave Rose. Now, Dave is the tournament director for the Chartist Bay Charge. So let's welcome Dave. Good evening, Dave.
Hey, guys.
How you doing there, all right?
Yeah, not too bad, eh?
Good stuff, good stuff. So you're joining us tonight. We're a week or so away from the Charge. How's the prep going?
It's come together really good. Stoked to have a real awesome sponsor on board. Thank yous, Signature Homes. Come to the party for title sponsor, naming sponsor for all 3 events I hold down here. So, and they want to renew next year. So that's fantastic news. Getting someone from outside the disc golf brand.
Yeah,
and Dave, can you tell viewers and other TDs who might be listening and or watching, how do you get a pop-up tournament on a golf course? How did Charter's Bay come about?
I got to say thanks to Chris Hoopman from Flexline. It was his little brainchild. He had a contact with the course themselves. He approached them. He's helped me with the trilogy in the last couple of years. And between him and I, we got hold of the guys and said, hey, we want to do this. And they're pretty excited to have us along.
Excellent. Now we're going to play. We've got a preview video. So if you've seen the caddy book, which was released earlier on this week, very professional look actually. So well done to whoever put that together. I'm presuming it's
was that Chris, Dave?
Yeah. I can't even try and take acknowledgement for the work that Chris has done. He's done a superb job.
I mean, we had him on the show. Was it last week or the week before? And yeah, I mean, even their setup looked great. All of their stuff looks so polished. But what we have is a video caddy book for anybody who prefers to ingest their caddy knowledge in moving form. So let's head over to that and just play this. And we'll continue to have our conversation over the top, and hopefully you can, if I add it to there we go. So yeah, this is the Flexline caddy book that's being played here, and it will just scroll through the scores. Dave, what do you think is going to be some of the easiest and hardest holes this week, or at the tournament?
Totally depends on the weather conditions. Superb course. We've played it, and you can see the weather we've got there today. For the filming, blue sky day, but then Brady was down the other week and we played it with a nice easterly coming straight up the harbour. So it kind of, it opens itself right up. It's going to be dependent on the day. There's that hole 3, nice little sheltered, straight down tree either side, but then you've got some rip roars which are at the top. You're throwing 200 meters downhill. You could have a rip roaring southerly coming over your shoulder, or you could have a wicked easterly coming in front of you.
Yeah, I have to say, good mix of holes.
Yeah, I have to say it's a great mix of holes. Use of elevation is great. Playing through a little bit of woods, playing through some tight gaps. It was really fun. Now, Dave, you've played the course a few times, but what brings you back? Like, what do you find so rewarding about being a TD?
It's just letting people get out there and play a course. It's always a bit of a challenge to design a course and people to come back to you and go, hey, that was a nice course. I guess that's what I look for. It's also, I feel I've kind of over the years now, it's I forget how many years I've been running tournaments. Was that 5-6 years, I think, Brady, since I was up in Spa Park, and you tapped me on the shoulder and said, hey, run Vic Park.
Yeah.
Cheers. And I feel I've got a bit of a level that I kind of produce, and people acknowledge that. So yeah, it's just kind of doing things a little bit different each time, trying to bring something new in or doing things slightly different. So
good stuff. And it might be a bit early to say because the first tournament hasn't even started yet. But have you got a plan or a kind of a vision for how you'd like this tournament to develop in future years?
For the Charge,
yeah,
it would be really nice to see this become a 2-day tournament. The only thing I have is I got to prove myself to the golf course club, the golf club. They have their club day on a Saturday, so the course is pretty packed on a Saturday. So I kind of got to ease my way in there somehow. Possibility of running a 2-day course on a long weekend, so like a Sunday, Monday, as a competition. So as an option.
So does that mean like Fling is going to be headed out across the harbor?
Oh no! I think the Charge has got to stay the Charge. The Fling will stay the Fling, and we'll see how we go.
Can we expect this same level of professionalism and that kind of stuff coming to the Fling? Because you are running that later this year, are you not?
Yes, I am. I haven't. I've been kind of focused on the Charge, and also the trilogy. So yeah, I haven't. The Fling is. I know where I'm holding it. I'm going to tweak the course up a little bit, and everyone kind of knows it's going to be there. It's the first weekend of October, the 2nd and 3rd of October. So yes, that is coming. I'm looking to open registration this Sunday night for 900 rated plus players, and also females. Then open it up to Gen Com on like Wednesday. So stay tuned on Gecko Facebook for that.
Yeah, I was gonna say you'd that leads perfectly into kind of my next question for you. It sounds like you're already wearing many hats, running the Charge, running Fling coming up, running Trilogy coming up. So yeah, like besides being a TD and running tournaments, you're also the man, the myth, the legend behind Gecko Disc Sports. Can you tell us a little bit more about Gecko and like maybe what's next for like Gecko and the Gecko brand?
Gecko was started from when I started a job on the wharf here in Christchurch and Littleton, so just across the other side of the bay or the harbour from the Charters Bay. And I found myself with a bit of time on my hands, both at home and at work. And I was like, I want to start selling things online. Well, I got to do something different and keep my mind busy. I toyed with a couple of different things, but came down to it. Hey, I like disc golf. Let's get a brand. Let's make some towels. I've toyed with a few different things. I've had some hats go out there. I've had t-shirts. There's a couple of hoodies out there as well. So I've still got my main brand, just putting it on different apparel. So yeah, where Gecko goes, it's probably going to be more of a tournament event organizer. But yeah, I'm not going to rule anything out.
Good stuff, Dave. I'd just like to come back actually to a point you made right at the start of the of our talk here about how you've brought a non-disc golf company in as a title sponsor, Signature Homes. I think that's absolutely fantastic that you've done that. From in your opinion, do you see that being the future of how these events are run with kind of not outside sponsors, but non-disc golf sponsors?
I think for us to grow the sport, yes. I think like Matt, being Sweet Chain, you can't afford to go sponsor 20 different events around the country and try to flick them all $100 or $200 for each event. Sure, you'll be able to do that one day, but I think right now we need to get some real money into the sport. And like Signature Homes, it's like a contract that I've done with them. It's not just, hey, can I have some money and hey, I'll do this for you. They want to see the level of tournament or Gecko, and the stuff that's doing is going up a level. We're getting stuff behind us. So like I've got another 9 baskets on order from Discmates from RPM. So that will give us a total of 18 baskets. Possibly we might get a couple extra, a couple of practice baskets as well. But that means like for me running a pop-up tournament is so much easier here in Christchurch because the courses that are just being played, they're jam-packed with people playing almost every day.
Yeah.
So you can set up a course. You'd slowly learn to get your way through the council's ticket tape. So yeah, once you got that and you down packed, it's pretty simple. Just go, hey, council, I want to run this event here and do this. So yeah.
Yeah. Good stuff. I'd like to just go to the comments. We've had a question come through from Hemi. Do you think the Christchurch Fling at Vic Park might be resurrected, or has it seen its end up there?
I think it's seen its end. Unfortunately, I would love to find somewhere else up on the Port Hills to run something similar with not the same ticket tape that I had up there that was starting to come in a lot. So I ran into problems with the park rangers. Just like from setup of the course was one issue. It's a lot harder to set up a course at Vic Park than set up at Ascot. there's the hill, there's not being able to drive to where basket placements are. You can't drive all the way up. You've got to drive around up the road and come in at the top of the course. And they're also trying to do a lot of regeneration up there. So there's a lot of walkers and mountain bikers as well that come into the mix.
Okay. Excellent. Okay. Good stuff. Well, we'll look forward to Trilogy Challenge and the Fling, as well as the Charge. Looking forward to those free tournaments. And if you missed the preview video, then good job that Chris is around to let us know the full preview video is coming tomorrow with a bit of his commentary.
Nice.
So if you did miss that, then check out YouTube. Make sure that you go and like Flexline Media's page and hit the little bell as well, so you get notification when that drops tomorrow. Lovely stuff. Okay, Dave. Thanks very much for all of that information. That's really, really good. I'd like to move into Desert Island Disc Golf. So you might have seen this before. You know the premise. The premise is that you're stranded on a desert island. Fortunately, this desert island's got a disc golf course, and you've got 3 discs with you and 3 card mates to play with, which is fantastic. So, what 3 discs are you throwing?
Not necessarily like the 3 discs that have got some meaning to me. Not necessarily the best 3 discs, but the first one would be a Discraft Crush first run. Not many people have probably seen that round. I bought 4 of those as my first disc from the States because you couldn't buy discs in New Zealand. That's nearly 20 years old. So
okay, look,
still got 2 of them on my
I'm going to show my naivety here. I've not heard or seen or thrown a crush. Sorry,
what?
Brady. I know. I'm new to all this. Talk us through for those who've got into disc golf in the relatively recent past. Tell us a little bit more about the Crush. What does it do? What does it compare to now?
I couldn't probably tell you the numbers and compare it to much. But when I first started, yes, Brady, shut up. You can tell them afterwards. For me, I'm a 4-hander. I could get it to go a good distance, do the nice big S bend on my drive. Flew really nice. But pretty much now I overpower it and it goes, roller to nowhere.
Okay.
So, what are the numbers on it, Brady?
It's going to be roughly a 10.403. Shout out to Bray. Well done on that one. Very similar to like an Orc, which is thrown by Nate Sexton. So it's in that like slow distance driver range because it was one of the first distance drivers to come out back in the day. It was the Discraft version of an Orc. Nowadays, Discraft, you'd be throwing either the Onyx, which is a 10.603, or you'd be throwing the Vulture, which is a 10.402. So yeah, definitely in that speed range. Dave, I have to ask. So you bought 4. What?
Yeah.
How many do you have left?
2. I mentioned that.
2.
Still got 2. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Excellent.
They don't get thrown too much, but they're still generally they will be in my bag. Great downwind disc for me.
Okay, you got 2 discs left. Where are you going?
Yeah.
What's the next disc?
This is a Servo, so 2016 Nationals disc.
Yeah,
I can rip this pretty well. I can bend it, turn it over. It's a good utility disc. You can throw it short, you can throw it long. Just a nice all-round disc. Not many people have seen one of those before either, I don't believe.
You're probably right. We do like some gyro here at Sweet Chair Music. So absolutely.
Stormtrooper Servo.
Yeah.
Shout out Vortica Discs and was it Davies? Davies run nationals that year.
Yeah, Chris Davies. So I've got 2 of those in my bag. It's always nice when you stuff the throw up and go, hey, I want to throw that again. So
fantastic. And what are you putting with?
And then my last disc is not a disc that's actually in my bag. It's a disc that was given to me. I just think it's a pretty sweet little disc. I was up in Auckland at the RPM HQ, and Jacko said, hey, take this home for your man cave, which I'm sitting in currently. We want to have a look around. You didn't see my discs up there? Wow, very good.
Nice.
And this one here that I took off the wall is a blue glow Tui.
Wow.
Just something different. want to be able to play golf in the dark when you're on the desert island.
Fantastic. Yeah, absolutely. Oh, good stuff, Dave. I like those very unique choices. So who is joining you on the course with you? Who's with you?
I'd have to take Brady first up.
Yeah.
You made it.
Yeah.
Thank you. Honored,
and
bro.
then I'm gonna go, like, I'm not a big follower of the big international names. I know a few of them, but I don't sit back and watch the international competitions. So for my international card person, I'll take Mo from Germany. He'd be freaking awesome. So another fantastic forehander and just all-round good bastard. And then I would love to have, some people will know the name, not many will actually remember him, but Pete Crafter. Be freaking awesome to have him on my card and go for a round with him again. So yeah, that are my three. Good stuff.
A very, very entertaining and worthy card there, Dave. Thanks very much for that. It's a good insight. To get more insight, we've got our quick fire round coming up now. So we got the family friendly front nine. Same questions for everybody each week. In those nine, really easy. And then we got the safari back nine, which is a little bit different for everybody, and it's a this or that format. And we thought that this week we'd get Brady to take you through the back nine. So I'll start.
Oh, I think that's someone knocking my door. I've got to go somewhere.
Yeah,
I'm gonna go get the door. Sorry.
I'll start us off. So here we go. Are you ready?
Yeah.
What's your name?
Dave.
Where were you born?
Christchurch.
Where do you live?
Avonside.
What's your PDGA number?
103. Yep.
Excellent. How many years have you been playing?
103 089.
089. Excellent. How many years have you been playing?
I will say 20.
Excellent. Favorite disc?
Servo.
Favorite course?
Oh, World. Favorite course, Vic Park.
Favorite MPO player?
Paul Macbeth.
Favorite FPO player?
Page.
Excellent. Good stuff. Brady, over to you.
Well, here we go, Dave. Back nine. Discraft or Innova?
Discraft.
TD or player?
TD.
Pop-up or permanent?
I'd love to say permanent because it's not so much work, but yeah, no, nothing like putting a pop-up in and giving people something they're not familiar with.
All about that health and safety, right, Dave? Charteris Bay or Vic Park?
Vic Park.
T-pad or weed mat?
T-pad.
Workshop or sleep out?
Workshop.
Powder or syrup?
Powder.
Drag king or drag queen?
Drag king.
And God Zone or coast to coast?
Ooh. Yep. I want to do them both again. I would say God Zone.
God Zone.
God Zone.
Okay. God Zone, that's it. You made it through 18 holes.
Very well done. Dave, look, thanks so much for joining us today. It's been an absolute pleasure hearing all about the charge. So let's just recap. You've got the charge in not this weekend, next weekend.
Yep.
You've got Trilogy Challenge. When's that?
25th of September, Saturday.
Okay, 25th. And
that's going to be played at QE2 or Ascot course.
Uh-huh.
And the club has got the funds and are installing the course, I think, in October. And we're going to see how we go with their planned layout for the trilogy. So that'll be kind of interesting to test the course out with I've got 90 or 91 people registered for the trilogy at the moment.
Wow.
I've got 100 player packs coming. So anyone wants to get in on one of those player packs, let me know.
Good stuff.
9 spots left.
Excellent. And then the fling
is the
First
following
weekend.
weekend on the 2nd and 3rd of October.
2nd and 3rd of October, but registration opens for that. Is it this weekend?
This Sunday. We'll say this Sunday, 7 o'clock, for 900 rated plus players along with females, and opening up for everyone else on Wednesday night, 7 o'clock. So what we'll do is we'll close down registration like midday on the Wednesday, and then open it up again on Wednesday night.
Fantastic. Well, look, very best of luck with your free tournaments that you've got coming thick and fast in the next couple of months, and we'll hear all about them. I'm sure we'd love to get you on the show a little bit later on the year to give us a recap of how they went and what your future plans are. So thanks very much for that, Dave, and we'll see you next time.
Sweet. Thanks for having me.
Thanks, Dave.
Cheers.
Excellent. Great to see Dave there, and I'm sure that the Charge is going to be a fantastic event, which is coming up in just over a week's time. So yeah, Brady, what have you got for us this week?
Ooh, international news. I think I just want to start and end with the Ledgestone Insurance Open. It's really setting the bar for international news. Let's see. It donated over $300,000 to charity this year. That's on top of had the largest payout in history this year. So I don't know if anyone is following the Ledgestone Open. It's been around for a long time. Very notorious for it held 2019 Worlds are held there, and arguably the hardest course in the world. Northwood Gold was played that year with the notorious hole 12, the par 5 was averaging a full stroke over par. Jeremy Colling joked it should be a par 6, the first par 6 in history. This year changed, so they did not play Northwood Gold. They shared 4 holes, but actually it became Northwood Black. The MPO division averaged 6 over par. Was the average for the professional men field. There were only 20 rounds under par on the first day, and there were only 19 rounds under par on the second day. So playing is one of the hardest courses on the planet, basically. I think women players were like 8 over par. And it's one of those I've talked international news about course design in the past, and that people talk about Idlewild. Idlewild is coming up this week for those who are following the Disc Golf Pro Tour, and that is called a wooded course. But there's rumor that we might not be able to start calling things like Waco or Jonesboro or Idlewild wooded courses anymore. Not if you have things like Brewster Ridge, not if you have things like, if anybody watched the footage from Northwood Black, it was one challenging course. Matt, how did you find it? So we play a lot of birdie golf, like Mikey Hughes still slaying it with double digits under par down south. What are your thoughts on wooded, truly wooded golf in Northwood Black? Yeah,
look, I love it. I honestly do. I'd love to give it a go. I'd love to get my ass kicked by it, honestly. Some of my favorite holes at Berrenport are the ones that are in the woods. There's two holes that are very much wooded holes at Berrenport, and Hardcore, which is coming up both this weekend and at Fault Line, has got some very tight lines associated with it as well. For someone who doesn't throw very far, I like the idea that actually it comes down to a skill rather than necessarily a power kind of game. And I think I prefer those kind of courses rather than your golf cool courses that you might see. So yeah, I really liked it. I enjoyed the footage. I'm a little bit annoyed that it got cut short, which I'm sure you'll get to in a minute, because I had Kyle Klein to win before the tournament, and he got a top round of round 3 and was 5 down through 5 prior to
5 to 5.
Canned. And he was in the lead, so I was fuming when I saw that got canned. But so it looked like a great tournament. The cancellation was the right decision, though, right?
Yeah, no, and that's like Jeff Spring talked about it after the tournament. The idea that on the last day of play, so a lot of people got gutted because of weather. Like people have come out and said, like, oh, there should have been a cut. Like you should have had a playoff. But like the rules in the PDGA at the moment are very clear on the last day of play. Like that's it. So like the idea that they had to cancel it, and because that was the last day of play, meant there could be no playoff. I think Calvin and Ricky have joked that whoever wins Idlewild is going to take home the cup from Ledgestone this year. So I think that's a pretty neat idea. But yeah, totally the right call. States get a lot more crazy weather than we do here. Like they get just as crazy flash flooding and all of that kind of stuff. There are a lot of, if you're following social media, the RV park where a lot of the professionals had parked their camper vans actually got struck by lightning. I think it was like Adam Hammes or like Andrew Presnell, one of the Discraft guys, was less than like 20 meters away from where lightning struck a power pole.
Wow.
So yeah, like totally the right call, like really gutting, like that people couldn't finish and that kind of stuff, and there wasn't the battle. People mentioned, like, oh, well, maybe we should start having cuts going into the last day, similar to the PDGA. But no, I think it's great. I love these challenging courses. Actually, that's another question I have to ask you, Matt, because the European Championships are coming up. They
started.
No, that's right. Sorry. Yeah. Footage is coming out soon. I think it's Spin TV for those of you who are wanting to watch Europe. Kristen Tatar came over and slayed the FPO division in her tour. Once she found her feet and got over the jet lag or whatever she wants to call it, she was doing amazing stuff. And Europe tends to have a lot of like wooded courses and courses where you have to select a shot and not necessarily throw the farthest, but throw with skill. Northwood Black did a lot of that. You said you like that. Do you prefer courses so Northwood Black had a couple 90-degree holes, and that was probably the only negative feedback that came through for the course. And the idea that, like Drew Gibson played with 8 discs the whole weekend. And I'm pretty sure on 14 of the holes, he threw a buzz. On like other 4 holes, he threw a putter to the corner, then threw a buzz. So what are your thoughts on courses that require almost a specific shot with a specific disc rather than a little bit of dealer choice in, like say an Eagle or a Simon going up over the top, or a Drew or Calvin Heimberg, like let's just throw an Eagle all day?
Yeah, so I guess it's very similar to, it's a similar question to if you were going to play a whole round on a golf course. And I think that there was a comment that I think it was Eagle McMahon made about this following, it could have been Worlds, where he said that ideally you want a course where you got 6 wooded holes, 6 open holes, and 6 that got a bit of everything. And you probably mix that up with 6 straight holes, 6 right turning holes, and 6 left turning holes. And then you'd have, 6 holes that par's a good score, 6 holes where you really should be getting a birdie, and then 6 holes where you got you're going to get a very wide range. And I think that's probably so my answer would be that if you have too much of one thing, then I think that's when over time it could start getting a bit stale. But otherwise, I like the idea of having a few options. I know certainly at Hardcore, and I'm going to bang on about this, but it's a lot of people's favorite courses, including my own. And it's got a lot of options. You can there are I've seen people for all sorts of stuff at Hardcore. So I think a bit of variety, both for the player and for the viewer, is key.
I definitely agree. Harker Park is one of those, you show up with your bag, you throw every disc on every line because you need it. You need your bag of tricks at Harker Park. I'm really looking forward to Fault Line Fury coming up. It's going to be interesting. I'm looking forward to seeing the Europeans back in action. It's nice to see Simon Lizotte overseas again. I prefer a European style course with a lot of natural OB and a lot of technicality. It's not necessarily how far you can throw it, but there's a lot more skill involved, like how far can you throw it on this line, and if you can throw it farther on that line, great, rather than just like a Heiser Fest all day. So yeah, like there are definitely some good tournaments coming up. I'm looking forward, of course, the East Coast Swing back in my old stomping grounds. So we have Isle of Wild, MVP is still on tour, and of course the Green Mountain Championships from my home state of Vermont. Speaking of Vermont and Green Mountain Championships, that leads me right into my rules highlight this week. This will also come into play for those of you who are playing Charge or are going to come join me up north for the Tauranga Extreme. I'd like to cover provisional throws. So I think they're used. So a provisional throw, basically, before you take a shot, you can declare what's known as a provisional. And so provisionals are really good in helping with speed of play, and also if there are ever rules discrepancies on a card and there's no official round. So say you and your card can't decide whether a disc is inbounds or out of bounds. What you can do is you can play the disc as it was out of bounds, and then you can take a provisional and play it as if it was inbounds. Then, play both, finish the hole. Say, like the inbounds was a 3, the out of bounds was a 4. At the end of the round, go to the TD or the rules official for the tournament. Ask the tournament director, what's the ruling? Is that inbounds? Is that out of bounds? Photographs don't work anymore, just in case for either TDs or players who are trying to use those. Normally, it should be card consensus. Otherwise, you go to an official to break the discrepancy, and that's what a provisional is good for. Also coming up, provisionals are great for lost discs. So coming up at the Tauranga Extreme, there's quite a lot of out of bounds, and there's a lot of OB. So you'll be throwing over a fence, you'll be throwing down on a cliff, and you can just kind of wave your disc goodbye. It most likely will come back probably 2 years later with a lot of slime on it. Personal experience. But in Charteris Bay, it's a little easier. You're going to be throwing over fences and throwing out of bounds, and it's going to come back right away. What can happen, though, say you lose it. So, like the Extreme's a great example. You can take a provisional throw, which means if you can't find the disc, you can take the provisional throw instead. There was a really good question that came up on the Tauranga disc golf page on Facebook asking, can you take a provisional throw if you abandon the shot? So say you find your disc, but it's the bottom of the gully, it's still in bounds, but you don't want to take it. Matt, do you know the answer to that one?
So I would say you probably can, but you got to take a penalty.
Nope.
Okay.
Wrong. But a lot of people play it that way. So if you abandon a shot, so that's where provisional gets tricky. So yes, provisional is there for speed of play, but because with if you find your disc, what happens is now you have a bad lie, which is where you found your disc, or the good lie where your provisional is, say, parked under the basket. Yeah. Because you know where the provisional is, it kind of sways that. So you can't then abandon the throw and take the provisional.
I see.
If you abandon the throw, so the one that rolled to the bottom of the hill, you then have to go back and re-tee. So that's the unfortunate bit. So like it helps with speed of play if you lose your disc, but you can't use it as an abandoned shot because you kind of already know. So it's kind of like a bias of like, oh, that was a perfect shot, I'm going to take that one and abandon. Yeah. You'd have to abandon it right away and then throw your next shot rather than calling it a provisional and then taking that provisional. Yeah. Yeah. The one caveat to that, which I know will come up at the Extreme, is that if a disc is going out of bounds, you know that it went out of bounds over the fence. You as a card can say it went out of bounds. That's where it was lost. So you play the disc from the out of bounds line rather than a provisional from the tee pad, if that makes sense. So that's one place where the Extreme, it's very helpful. You can either take the provisional from the tee, or if you know, it's just like if it's an OB lake, the whole card knows it went out of bounds. It went over here, come to a card consensus. This is where it went out of bounds. Play the out of bounds from the fence rather than taking a provisional back at the tee.
Okay. And so can you declare a lost disc at any time, even if you then go and find it? Or is it got to be genuinely lost? You've done the 3 minutes of the card searching and like that then it's a lost disc? Or can you go, oh, I think that's a lost disc, I'm going to play my provisional and then, decide that it's lost at any time?
Okay.
Because we've had a question in the comments that's exactly this.
Thank you, Mike Foley. Yeah. So no. Okay. So you cannot declare a lost disc at any time. A disc is only lost if the whole card has been looking for 3 minutes and you've declared time. That's when you declare a lost disc, and only then. At any point in time, you can abandon a throw. But in the case of using a provisional cannot be used to substitute for an abandoned throw. Does that make sense?
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So lost disc at time, and then you can use a provisional then, but you can't abandon a throw and then use a provisional.
Right. Okay. I see. All right. I think that's cleared it up. If anyone's got any questions on this, because it's a pretty complex thing, and we talked last week about the importance of card consensus and the spirit of the game, and people who are playing on the same card coming to an agreement about what the rules are, and not having to rely on officials or referees or umpires or whatever, right? And something that we're very passionate about. So if you do have any comments or questions that are to do with any of this, then please pop them in the comments below. Brady will be having a look at them, and we'll be happy to confirm anything that you're not sure of. It's going to be really important to do that. There's several tournaments coming up where lost disc could be a thing. Even so much as Ratchet this weekend. We're playing in California Park. It's a park we haven't played in very much before, and there are houses around nearly every hole. If you throw into one of those gardens, likelihood is it's going to be a lost disc, because you can't climb the fence into someone's property and get it, right? It's going to be a lost disc. So we're going to need to make sure that we're up on the rules. It's also good spirit of the game to know the rules of the game you're playing. And so if you've got any questions, bung them in the comments below, and we'll get to them. Excellent. Right, where are we going to now? We're going to future events. So future events we've got coming up are the Rapture in Wellington this weekend. If you are coming to that, then great. There's a big stack of discs behind me. All of those.
Hey!
So I'll be sorting those out over the next, tomorrow night. So
any in yellow, Matt?
Say again?
Any in yellow?
We have some in yellow.
Are they yellow black? Oh yeah, there we go.
Yellow cockatoo there. So lots to sort out for tomorrow. Quick shout out, actually. Thanks very much to Hayden and Disc Shop for coming to the party and ensuring that we've got baskets for the event on the Saturday. Much appreciate that. The California Park layout is being set up on Saturday morning, and we'll be ready from about 7:30, 8 o'clock. Players meeting or players registration opens at 8:30. Please be on time so that you can come and collect your players pack. We got to dish out about 150 discs, so I want to make sure that we get everybody their players pack, and we'll also be sorting out the doubles rounds then as well. And that's going to be you're going to be playing the California Park layout, which is the same California Park layout as is going to be used at Fault Line. So if you're playing in both events, you get a preview of what is to come. You've got to throw the 3 discs that are behind me, but you do get to preview those holes and see how they go. And if you want a quick round at lunchtime, then you can do that. The Charge is the week after, so we are talking about the Saturday after that, which is the 21st of August. It's sold out a while ago, so if you're going to that, then enjoy. If you're not going to that, you can catch up with you can follow the footage live, follow the scores live, I should say, on pgalive.com, and you can also check out the there's going to be a feature and lead card, I believe, coming out from Flexline Media shortly afterwards. So watch out for that. Their coverage is also always fantastic. So I look forward to that one. The week after that is Fault Line Fury. We go on about it. It's one of my favorite tournaments of the year. So really looking forward to this. If you're coming up from down south, then great. We'll see you then. Let me know if your flight lands from down south at about 9 o'clock on the Friday. I'm going to be at the airport picking up Phil, so give us a shout. I'll give you a lift. Now, there's also been a before we move on to that, we've got the Heislander, which takes place in January. Now, that is the general registration for that opens this weekend. So make sure that you are ready with that. A lot of that's likely going to sell out pretty quick. So if you want to get down to the Highland or down into Dunedin, then make sure that you are ready for when that Rego opens this weekend. If you're 940 rated or a lady, then chances are you've already signed up. So good stuff. Now, we've also had news that another event has joined the New Zealand Disc Golf Tour. It's a 50-point event. It's being held on the 25th of September this year in Nelson. Okay, it's called Nelson Armageddon. It's I'm a bit surprised as you are, Brady. It's 25th of September now, which is the week between McLaren and the Fling, and it's the same weekend as Trilogy down in Christchurch, and the same weekend as the Te Upako Wellington Club Day. But if you're in Nelson, if you're in the area and you can get to that tournament, it's a 50-point New Zealand Disc Golf Tour event. Now, this is news to me, and I don't really know what the process is for getting events onto the tour. I would have assumed, and perhaps it was wrong of me to assume, that it's the sort of thing that NZDG announce more than 7 weeks out from the event.
Well, so okay. I think I found the event you're talking about. So it's called the Armageddon Disc Golf Festival. Yep, looks like it takes place on the 25th in Nelson. Not at Isle Park though, or Rabbit Island. Maybe Redstone Golf. Redstone Disc Golf Park. So the ball golf course, I think they played there last year. For those of you who are in the know, so they had a pop-up tournament on a golf course. 50-point event, entry fee $75, and it's advanced players. There's no pro divisions.
No pro divisions. So it's MA1, FA1, etc.
Yeah. Friday, Saturday. Is it a one-day event? No. No, 2 days. Yeah, you're right. 2 days, 3 events. Your typical like NZDG event. But like Charge isn't. Did Dave say was Charge on the tour or anything?
Charge wasn't on the tour. No, Charge isn't on the tour. The Fling is, but the Charge isn't.
Okay. Yeah, this is like super surprising. That a 50-point event is popping up 7 weeks out. Don't you need like a year in advance? I thought like first time events were 40 points. Do you know anything about that, Matt?
I don't. I found out about it during the week. It was quite surprising to find out. It's essentially because there's no MPO division. Anybody 970 rated or higher can't play or is ineligible to play. Because there isn't a division that's open for them, which is a handful of players and a handful of players who might fancy that event, especially if they're sitting on 5 events and want to bump up their numbers. I think it's interesting. Earlier on this week, I did reach out to the NZDG board to see if we can get an interview with someone from the board. Not least because of this, I actually reached out to them prior to seeing this event. But really, because the present board's been stood up for about 3 months now, I think it'd be a good opportunity to give us an update on what's been going on. But so I think that it'll be. I think it's interesting that this event's happened. That this event is on. I would encourage if you're in the area or even if you're not in the area and you can make it to Nelson, go and have a great time. I think it would, there's a chance you're going to enjoy it. The pictures of the course look great. Part of the course is in a paintball park. So, if you want to play disc golf in a paintball park, then go for it. We're always talking on the show about how are we going to make sure that there's enough events in the calendar to be able to satisfy what everybody wants. So the fact that there's another event, great. Do I agree that it's a 50-point event on the tour? I'm not sure I do. Not sure I do, especially with the notice we've been given, and as you said, the fact that it's a first time out for it.
Yeah. Well, but I have to premise this, and I really, really want to say this. Number one, massive shout out to Nelson Tasman Disc Golf for one, putting on an event, two, putting on an event this big, this quickly, three, I'm pretty sure that they're just finished a like 3 tournament event that was like real quiet if you weren't in like the Nelson in the know. So I to be honest, if you're in Nelson Disc Golf and you're listening, or watching, reach out. We'd love to talk to you and know more about like what's going on in Nelson and what's going on with this event. Two, thank you so much for the Mahi to get another city on tour. You know, like it's going to be interesting seeing who takes it out. Like if Christchurch is bottled up with their event, and then if the capital, you know, at Wellington we have our club day, so that's going to take out pretty much a good chunk of us. It could be anybody's ball game. So it'll be really, awesome. Like super surprising news. I wish I knew about it more. I'll have to dig more into it as the event gets closer.
Yeah. I mean, I guess the only thing for me is it's a bit of a shame that it's on the same weekend as two other events, right? And maybe it was the only weekend that they could do, and there's lots of reasons why it's on that day. But if you're in the Nelson area, or indeed if you're not, and you can make it to that tournament, please go along.
Support the growth of the game. Support the Mahi.
It's going to be good. I certainly would like to ask New Zealand Disc Golf a little bit more about the process of getting a tournament on the tour.
Yeah, I was going to say, do you have Roberts like earmarked for one of these episodes? He's got to be on here sometime.
I haven't, but I did reach out to the board, as I said earlier on in the week, to see if we can get a representative. So perhaps he's available. So that sounds like it would be an interesting chat. And we spoke on the show quite a bit about how the tour might need to change and how it might need to adapt to the growth of the game and the fact that there's way more people playing it. What I'd like to know is just how has that gone about it? It looks like it's started. It's looked like the changes are starting to come in, but I'd just like to know what's the planning that's gone into it? What's
where's the communication? Like, I'm happy that the sport is growing. I'm happy that events are popping up, but where's the communication so like we as players can play in these events?
Yeah. I mean, I was surprised that the communication came from the event organizers themselves. So far we haven't heard anything from NZDG about the fact that a new tour event has been added to their tour with 7 weeks notice, and is now, it's not quite the next event, but there's 2 more events and then it's then. So like, I think that's, it's great. It's great that there's more tournaments in the ground. There's just a few questions over this one that I think.
If anyone's got answers, we'd love to know.
Thanks, Ben. Now, I would hope to give you ratings updates today, but there's been no sanctioned events in New Zealand which have had tournament reports, etc., in time for this ratings update. So in the next ratings update, which will be the second Tuesday of September, we shall have that update then. So look out for that, and there'll be a few events that are included in that, not least Tucker Breach Rush, Faultline Fury, and also the Charge
Struggle Street League,
and the Struggle Street League will be ticking along, which we'll get to as well. So
I got my eyes on you, Morgan. I'm watching that rating climb. Let's go.
Yeah. And look, PDGA leagues, Brady, where do you stand on them? I really like the idea, right?
I'm currently in the midst of planning one for Barenpore. So I'm going to call it the Barenpore 200. So I'm going to run a 10-week league with a like King of the Hill championship at the end, leading up to Christmas, and the Christmas break for most folks. So keep a lookout for that. I love them. I think it's going to be really interesting to see how like ratings jump and points go and that kind of stuff. So I'm a big fan and hoping to do that. You talked. Now, where do you stand on leagues?
I love them. I love a sanctioned event. I think it's great. And props to Morgan for organizing his. I was delighted when I heard that you were going to be doing one at Barenpore. I'm certainly going to be there as many weeks as I can. I'm also in the process of organising a slightly shorter league, but one in the spring, one in the summer, on a weekday up at Hardcore Park. So that'll be the Wellington Spring Open League and the Wellington Summer Open League, and there'll be MPO, MA1, and FPO divisions available there.
Nice
with prizes and cash and stuff. So if that's hopefully if that's of interest, there'll be more information coming out on that. As well as Wellington Ladies League starting up again at the beginning of October. So if you're in Wellington and a lady and you want to come along on Tuesday night, 6:30, we'll start at Petone and we'll work our way around the city. So yeah, listen out for that one.
Matt, Morgan, because I know you're listening, and Matt, I have you here while I have both of your attention. Let's make a champions card. So champion of Barronport, champion of Spring League, champion of Struggle Street. Let's get them on a card together and have like a winner takes all.
That sounds like a fantastic idea.
Yeah,
Morgan, give us a thumbs up if you're in on that. This doesn't make great TV, but
yeah, he'll refresh. Little slow getting to the South Island. It's cold down there. Let's go. He's in. That's 3. Okay.
Good stuff.
Champions card it is.
Look out for the New Zealand PDGA League champion of champions, which will be coming soon. Lovely stuff. Brady, thank you very much for tonight, for coming along. Now, we've got Andrew back in the co-host hot seat from next week. So I just want to say thank you so much for joining us over the 3 of the last 4 weeks. I think we very much enjoyed your expertise with regards to the both the international scene and the rules clarification. So thank you so much. You'll be on the show again, almost certainly, and we'll see you soon.
Thank you so much, Matt. It has been a pleasure to be here for 3 of the last 4 weeks. I definitely won't be a stranger to the show. Keep up the good work.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Anybody in Wellington, I'll see you on Saturday. Otherwise, have a great week. See you later.
Peace.